CCT adjustment. I'm finally getting around to it. Hopefully my parts will be in today. I've got to go to work in a little bit. I thought day shift would work out so much better, but then I realized there's a lot of stuff you don't get to. We're going to get this done real quick, hopefully. I don't have a cameraman, and I don't have like the goofy strap on to mount the GoPro to my head, so I'm going to try to get this video. I'm trying to follow the action as much as I can. I guess that's the easy way to say it. So first thing you need, 17 millimeter. 17 millimeter. We'll take your timing inspection cover off. Once it breaks free, it comes right off. It's just a matter of getting that seal to loosen. Essentially, this is the bolt you need to turn. This will turn your engine. Somewhat optional, you can pull your spark plugs. It makes the engine easier to rotate. Personally, I don't know. I don't feel like pulling them. It makes the engine easy to rotate, and you'll see why that's going to be important here shortly. That ball right here, that's your adjustment, and then this is your lock, basically. This is what you have to loosen. That's what you have to tighten. First things first, get your lock nut loosened up. All right, let's see if I can show you. Hopefully you can see from there. So I think the easier way to do this is basically unplug your wire harness, and it's not the way I prefer to do it, but it does work. Gives you more room to do stuff. Alright, fairing. You just have to slide your connectors through one at a time. What I was aiming to do is clear up in here. That's a radiator hose that you see right there. You probably will not get that out of your way. Not without disconnecting everything. 5/8, by the way. 5/8 inch. Okay, let me see if I can show you what I'm doing. I don't have a cameraman. Like I said, I don't have the goofy strap on either. You have a little oil ring that you can see. A little O-ring built into this thing. Back this thing out. Pull that O-ring back. And you will need to slide that back in. It does not like to just adjust itself to where you need it. It will add a lot of extra tension, and you will not be able to feel what you're doing. Because I usually use two hands, one on top, one on bottom, and just kind of roll it backwards. This is where you need girl fingers, little itty bitty hands to get into here, just because of where all this stuff is positioned. This will back out far enough, by the way, for you to, actually it'll lock against the frame. Like, it goes out a lot. And I assume, unless you have a brand new CCT, you'll never have it this far out, except adjusting. And I only back it out this far because, I don't know, I think it's easier. So carefully, don't put any pressure on this O-ring. Don't push in on it when you're doing this, or you'll probably end up splitting it. Alright, so your next step is basically going to be 14 millimeter. You need to be able to spin your engine. You can work through compression easy enough. You can always tell when you hit the end of the compression because it just releases all at once. Now what I do is I manually spin my CCT adjuster, whatever. I manually spin it back in, just finger tight. Spin it in by hand until you feel, well, you'll feel tension when you actually touch the guide. Now, and I can't really show you, I think, but underneath here, and I'll see if I can pull up a picture, there is a guide that goes across the top, and it stops the cam chain from being able to jump teeth, and it does work. I've made the mistake of actually spinning the engine with that off. It will jump teeth with it off. Honda states it's impossible with that in place to jump time, and I think that's true. If you don't know what happens if you jump time, you have to take the cams out. You have to line it back up to where they need to be. It's a nightmare. Okay, so spin the engine a few times, and that will actually essentially adjust the tension that's on the cam chain. It's ideal if you can do it together. This is why it makes it easier to have the plugs out, because as you're spinning this, you can kind of one finger spin your cam chain tensioner. And what you want to do is, as it's spinning, you'll notice it'll move in a little bit, and that's just as the cam chain slacks naturally. It depends on what pressure's on where. Just finger tight to where I really can't move it. And you'll know if you screw this up because you'll get like a humming, whining noise. I think I'm pretty much tight on that. Now I go all the way in, this finger snug, and then I go in a quarter turn, which is technically more tension than it needs to have. But not by a whole lot. I mean, you're talking about a quarter turn. And I'm just going to spin this in. Your O-ring will easily spin back in with the lock nut. And that's it. Finger tight, and then plus a quarter turn. It's much easier if you have a helper too, somebody can hold the wiring harness out of your way, hold your light up, hold your GoPro, or hold your camera. So you can see the final position is probably not much different than when I started. Now that is nice and snug, nice and tight. Put your inspection cover back on. Make sure this is all 100% clean. This actually goes directly into your engine. And this has some kind of a torque value, I'm sure. By the way, the only time I've ever managed to really strip bolts out is when I'm torquing something to a specific torque setting. I broke a cam hold down bolt. I actually snapped one, and I was about 15 inch-pounds shy of the max. So that's pretty much it. You know, plug your stuff back up, pull your connectors back through, make sure all your wiring harness stuff is tucked back up, nice, neat, and out of the way. Do I have to say gray goes to gray? I hope I have to say that. Gray, blue, there you go. That's that. Just because of the annoyance of having to do this every 5,000 miles, use an automatic CCT. When you get to 30,000-40,000 miles, replace it with a new one. Hopefully that'll help you out. I mean, that's the basics of what you need to do. It's basically, I back it out. I just like to have that tension. Back your O-ring off of the adjustment, or down the adjustment shaft. You know, you lock nut off. Finger tighten it in. If you pull your plugs, it'll make it a lot easier to spin your engine. If you have two people to do it, it's even better, because you can have somebody spin the engine while you finger tighten the adjustment. That is I'd say the ideal, preferred way to do it. I go until it butts up. You can feel the tension, and I'll go kind of to where it doesn't want to turn easily by hand anymore. And then I go in a quarter turn from there. Screw your lock nut back in, tighten it down, reassemble, and you're done. Like I said, 17mm bolt to get your inspection cover off, your timing inspection cover, and then 14mm bolt to spin your engine. Nothing to it, guys. If you are getting to the point where you can't adjust your CCT anymore, it's too far in, then you probably need a new cam chain, in which case you probably need a whole slew of things at that point. So theoretically you can do this running. Here's why I don't like the idea of doing it running. The idea of running my bike with the airbox completely off, even in a enclosed environment, I don't know. There's something about that would freak me out too much, and I can't do it. So, personal preference, I just do it by hand, and I haven't had any issues with it. If you did manage or want to do it with the engine running, it'd kind of be the same process. Tighten it up. The only thing you're saving from doing that, you don't have to pull your inspection cover. You don't have to turn the engine by hand. It'll turn itself, and you basically just finger tighten in your adjustment, and that's it. You get to the point where it doesn't want to go in freely anymore, then I would probably cut it off, go in, a quarter turn, lock everything down, put everything back together. But you're going to have your airbox off to get to it on a 954, because you don't have a way to get underneath because of the way the bike design is. You might be able, you can see the CCT right here. I mean, you can get to everything. There's the adjustment bolt, there's the lock, but you're not going to have a wrench that's going to fit into here. So, maybe a swivel wrench, but even then it's going to be a nightmare. So, just not worth it to me to do it running. Anyway, guys, Josh R., hopefully that'll help you out, buddy. This is the only 954 CCT adjustment video that I've found on YouTube. I've looked extensively just to make sure I was doing it right. That's my recommended way. Theoretically, or somewhat follows A.P.E.'s or A.P.E.'s instructions, minus they say back it off a quarter turn. I go in an extra quarter turn. It's because I've done it a quarter turn out, and it seemed to loosen back up in about 2,500 miles. It seemed to kind of start getting loose and getting just a little bit of cam chain rattle. So I started going in a quarter turn. At that, like I said, 4,500 to 5,000 miles. So it extended it out a good bit. It is adding extra pressure. Nothing over what the OEM CCT is going to do, the auto CCT. It is what it is, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hit that thumbs up button. Share it. Head over, check out the Uclear giveaway. Definitely hit that subscribe button. And I've got some more. Got a couple ideas for 954 specific videos, since everybody seems. My most popular video is definitely why the CBR954. So I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, hit that subscribe button, and y'all guys be safe. I'll see you in the next video. Hopefully my next video I'll be riding, because my bolts come in today, or my airbox screws come in today. Thank God, it's been like a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, and I'm losing my mind not riding. So love you guys, be safe. See you in the next video.